Hello everyone. Hello again. I snuck down into my bathroom so I could have a little peace and quiet. So that's why you see all of the tile behind me. So as the day progressed, I was really thinking about all of the stuff that's going on, everything that's happening all over the world. And right now, the biggest thing, of course, we all know is the coronavirus and all of the stuff that's happening. Now, things are beginning to pop up. New things are beginning to pop up, new sicknesses, and as well as the locust plagues that are going to be happening in the Middle East. Volcanoes going off. One just erupted in, I want to say, Italy. Then we had the massive earthquake here in Utah in the United States, right around the Yellowstone volcanoes. And all of this in the midst of this chaos with the virus. Now, as I watch the news and I watch people and I watch them in their day-to-day, and even when I was in the stores yesterday trying to get my last minute things before we self-quarantine ourselves, the look on people's faces that I see is a look of hopelessness and even a look of fear. And they're starting to panic even more, and they're not sure where to turn, and they're not sure what's happening and what's going to happen, and the fear of the future and the fear of what may happen is beginning to sink in. And what the Lord reminded me of was that when he says that he will never leave us and he will never forsake us. And even in the midst of this virus and in the midst of everything that's going on, even though it seems like he is absent, he is still present, and he is still walking beside us, and he is still going to get us through this. And he has not left us, and he's not forsaken us. He is going to protect his children, and he is going to walk beside his children through this. If one of his children end up getting sick, he's going to be there. He's going to walk beside them all the way through it. And even in the midst of this, and even in the midst of everything else that's going on, he is going to bring good from this. And especially if this virus was man-made, which I believe in my heart that it was created in a lab. What was intended for evil, God is going to turn it around and bring good through it. And so we have to remember that as we go through our day-to-day life. Now, of course, don't be a fool, and don't be like these kids that are still out there drinking and partying and going about your daily life. We do still have to be courteous and conscious of other people, especially the elderly, and especially those who have cancer, and especially those who have a weakened immune system. We as believers in Christ need to show the love of God to them by, stepping back and protecting them. And even if we have to self-quarantine ourselves for a little bit, that is something that we should do. We should not be so defiant and say, well, the government is trying to tell me what to do. And instead of thinking of it that way, think of it as, this is how you can show the love of God, and to love others and love your neighbor by staying out of it, staying out of the way, so that if God's will be done, that this thing would pass by, then it will be. I personally don't believe that this thing is just going to pass by. I believe that this is part of the end time plagues that God is allowing, and I believe that it's just the start, and I think it's going to get worse. It's not going to get better, and I don't mean to say that to bring fear into you, but I believe that this is a sign of his return. And so if you think of the stuff that's going on, and the coronavirus and the plagues, or sorry, not the plagues, but the locusts and the earthquakes and the volcanoes and the astrological stuff with the asteroids passing by Earth and all that stuff. If you think of it this way, how God will always bring his children back. And so if people have strayed, if they have turned their head against God, if they have fallen into the world, or if they have fallen away, then they are going to see the things that are happening now. If they were truly a child of God, they're going to see the things that are happening, and they're going to turn back around, and they're going to turn towards Christ again. And they're going to realize the stuff that's happening and put two and two together with the Bible. And it's also bringing those who have always heard Christians talking to them throughout their lives and telling them the prophecies and telling them about Jesus. It's also bringing them to him, and it's bringing them to the Bible and wondering what's going on and wonder what's happening. So God, I believe, is allowing this to happen to bring the last people into the ark. He's allowing that last Gentile to accept him. And when that finally happens, the curtain's closing and it's going to end. And we see it rapidly happening so fast. With everything, with the biotechnology and the tracking, and Israel tracking its people, and the stuff that's happening in the United States this year with the ID 2020, or they call it the Agenda 2020. Things are so rapidly speeding up that it's almost hard to catch your breath. But just the only thing that we can do is just, one, be excited because Jesus is coming. Two, don't fear because Jesus is on our side, and he's never going to leave us, and he's never going to forsake us. He is always going to take care of us, even though it feels like he has gone a million miles away, or that he is not paying attention, even though it feels like he might be angry at us, or at that he's taking his anger out on us. Not so. He is, like I said, he is getting the last people onto the ark. He is waking up the last people, and he knows how many and who and how it's going to happen. And this is going to wake up so many people. I ran into a couple yesterday that they were asking me, what do you think of all this? What do you think is going on here? And I straight up told them, God is trying to wake up the world. He's trying to get their attention. And they said, well, what do you think, what do you think about that? And I said, well, Jesus is coming, and he's trying to wake up people. And this virus, are you going to panic and be so scared that you pass out from the fear? Or are you going to realize that Jesus is coming and get to work and share the gospel with others, help others who are in need, especially the elderly that can't get out? Are you going to show the love of Jesus to others in these times, or are you going to be selfish and keep it to yourself and stay home and not say anything out of fear? And so I don't want you to be fearful, guys. If we pay attention to everything that's happening, everything that's going on, we see that his return is very soon, and we just need to keep focused and keep our eyes on him, keep our eyes on the Bible. And now is the perfect time to get ourselves back into the Word and really study it, really meditate upon it, and really pray to the Lord, because now is the time. Now that we're all quarantined, now is the perfect time to call out to him and to really meditate upon what his word says, and so that we can be prepared for his coming when he does come. So I wanted to leave that with you guys, and I'm going to try to be back now that I'm quarantined. Willfully quarantined. I'm not forced by any means, but I want to make sure that I am, doing my due diligence and staying home, and I'm stocked and all of that. So I might be on a little bit more. So with that, you guys, I love you, and until next time, may you be richly blessed.